Stacey Rambold was a former teacher in Montana, and he was convicted of raping a 14-year-old student. And if you guys can remember, he was in the news, and the judge who sentenced him was in the news because he only served a total of 30 days behind bars. The mandatory minimum in the state is actually 2 years, but the judge sentenced him to 15 years and suspended all of his sentence except for about 31 days, and then gave him credit for 1 day served. So again, he only served 30 days behind bars for raping a 14-year-old student. Now, the reason why the judge gave him that sentence was because he felt that the 14-year-old student wanted to have sex, and she seemed older than she really was. In fact, the judge, his name was Todd Baugh, said that during Rambold's sentencing in August, the teenager was probably as much in control of the situation as the defendant. He later apologized, but he also said that she was older than her chronological age. Now, the 14-year-old student actually committed suicide during the court proceedings. Jeez. So she didn't get an opportunity to testify against the teacher. But the reason why I'm bringing this story up today is because the Supreme Court in the state of Montana has decided unanimously that he needs to be resentenced. So a judge will resentence him, and based on the state law, he will serve a minimum of 2 years.
So it's interesting because they didn't follow the sentencing guidelines, that's why they get to re-sentence him, and we get a tiny bit of justice there in that case. If they just went back randomly to re-sentence him because of public opinion, that would be troubling for other reasons, right? But in this case, they followed the law, and we got some justice. District Judge Todd Baugh, who was the original judge, who said she looked older than her years, it almost seemed like he was saying, like, I mean, I can see why he did it.
Look, I'm not saying that age is an excuse for what he said, but he might come from a different time. He's 72 years old. He's about to retire. Maybe he just doesn't understand why it's a big deal. But when you have, first of all, even if she was 18 years old, there's an imbalance of power. But to top it off, she's 14. In the state of Montana, anyone under the age of 16 cannot consent to sex.
Yeah. And the fact that she committed suicide during the proceedings might give you some sense that she was troubled by the incident. And I wouldn't have said those things after her suicide. So, and her suicide did make it harder to get a tougher sentence on him. That part we understand, the law being what it is. But to antagonize the situation was crazy. So the fact that they have reversed his decision is really welcome news.
Absolutely. And I do want to give you a statement from one of the justices. It's Justice Michael Wheat. He says, Judge Baugh's statements reflected an improper basis for his decision and cast serious doubt on the appearance of justice. This is no basis in the law for the court's distinction between the victim's chronological age and the court's perception of her maturity.
Yeah, just because you think she looks old enough doesn't mean she actually is old enough. And the fact that that affected your decision is crazy.